Alright guys, it's your boy Meek here from failtech.co.uk and I'm going to be talking about owning my 600D in 2016. Now I would have done this a little bit earlier, or I might have done a review on this a little bit earlier, but I didn't actually have a camera to be able to record B-roll of this. And so Callum's here, he's got his mad Nikon D3100, so we decided to use that. Now I'm going to be talking about using it with a kit lens as well, because obviously it's the normal lens you can get. You can actually get higher end kits that come with better lenses, but I just got the cheapy one because I'm a cheapskate. So to start off with, it's Canon, so you're already guaranteed build quality the same way Nikon and Sony and Panasonic are. You're not going with a cheap brand, you're going with something that is quite reliable, and it's a reliable camera. I've never had any problems with it, including using third-party software like Magic Lantern. Never had a problem with it. It's just worked flawlessly, really, for me over the past year or so. I got this back in December of 2013 or December of 2014. No, it was 2013. Or was it 2014? No, it was December of 2014. It was good. I really enjoyed it because I've never had a DSLR before. Now I'd much rather have a mirrorless camera, but times have changed, and the way that companies have marketed like video cameras is really different to the way they used to. So DSLRs aren't really that good for video compared to mirrorless now, but I still really like them because of their large sensors. Now this isn't a full frame sensor, so you're not getting that full frame goodness, you're not getting all that light, and you're not getting all that bokeh, but instead you're just going to get a slightly smaller sensor. The kit lens is an 18 to 55mm f3.5 to 5.6, which is the same that you'll find on the Nikon kits and like several other kits from different manufacturers, because it's just the simplest to make. It's really versatile. It goes quite wide to mid-range, so not very telly, but like mid-range to quite wide, so 18 being the widest. It's sharpest at about 40mm and about f6, but obviously with me I like to get as much bokeh as possible, so I keep it almost at 18 at f3.5 as much as I can. One thing about this camera compared to a lot of other cameras in this price range is they don't have flip out screens, and this one does. It's a vari angle, so you can flip it out, flip it towards you if you want to see what you're doing, what you're looking at, and change it if you're, say, pointing above. You want to have the screen face you instead of, obviously, if the camera's pointing right down. It's really, really useful. And about that display, I've noticed, no offense Canon with your Nikon camera, but the screen not being vari angle is okay. But I realised just how high resolution the 600D screen is, because when you're looking and you're trying to get that pinpoint focus, you have to zoom in a hell of a lot on the Nikon to be able to see things, and it's quite a low resolution, whereas the 600D actually has a really high resolution screen. Not sure if it's just mine being high resolution or Canon's being low resolution, or both average, I don't know, but yeah, that was just something I wanted to point out. The menus are really intuitive. If you've used one Canon camera, you've used them all. With Nikon, they are quite similar, as in like you've used one, used them all, but there are different features and different layouts using different dials. Whereas Canon, from its lowest end all the way up to its highest end, the menus are almost identical. So that's something to look out for. If you've used maybe a T2i and you want to buy a T3i, then you kind of know exactly what to look out for. Dials, there's one dial on this, and that is on the top where your finger would be near the shutter release button, and that's it. There aren't any other dials on there, which is a bit of a shame. You've got a directional pad and several other buttons, but you haven't got a dial apart from that top one, which is quite clunky and not very light to use, so it's not the best dial ever, but it's there. Next, it actually has several picture modes. You can obviously use manual, program, any of your auto and scene modes, and this one has a dedicated video mode instead of you just videoing in photo mode, which a lot of other cameras have, which I didn't notice until about a week ago when I was looking them up because of other cameras I wanted to buy. So there's that. Obviously with the EF mount, you can use a lot of the newer lenses and actually the older lenses. For a long time I used the 28 to 200mm f5. It was like a Sigma, which is like a crazy lens for like an old film camera, but it worked just fine here even for full frame. So yeah, that works quite well. A lot of the Rokinon and Samyang lenses work really well here, as well as Tamron and Sigma. They make really, really high quality lenses. The amount of times I've thought of not upgrading and just buying a straight up Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8 because the lens is so nice. Obviously you can use it on this camera because it is made for this sensor. This does not have autofocus in video, which is a pain in the ass. The 70D does, and I really like the 70D, but I don't know if it's really worth going for it. I really like, obviously, autofocus in video, which is useful. Obviously, it's nice to have the choice between manual and auto. Even if I'm going to use manual all the time, it's nice to have that if I really need auto, I can't do it. I just have to focus everything by myself, which is a bit annoying. The sensor being smaller means you kind of have to either crank up the ISO, be in a really well lit area, or just shoot your aperture all the way down so it's lowest f-stop, which is kind of annoying because sometimes you don't want a blurry background, sometimes you just want everything to be in focus and you can't do that. I love this camera to bits. It costs £250 at the time. They're currently going for about £270. With camera gear, you'll find it doesn't tend to go down in price, so what you bought it for probably is what you're going to sell it for, unless you bought it for a lot of money, like more than it should have been. And that's the shame really with this camera, is that it's good, but there are so many more improvements. With a great lens selection, this could be an amazing camera, but I just have the kit lens at the moment and that's not doing too well for me. I thought about upgrading, to 4K even, or to go to higher end 1080p, but there are things about this camera I don't like. The focusing, like I said, it's all manual, so you have to do it by just reaching out. There's no NFC, there's no Wi-Fi, so you can't transfer things easily. There's a standard SD-XC card slot, which is good, but I'd like to be able to kind of just slap my phone up against the side and get the images, which is something you could do with the newer cameras, which is a pain in the ass. So apart from that, I'm not really sure what to say. It's a great camera. The autofocus in video is really annoying. It takes really good stills. I'm only talking about this from a video perspective. And the EF mount lens kind of solution is really good, but you have to buy a good lens, because with crap lenses you're going to have crap video. There's no headphone out as well, which is annoying, so if you want to monitor audio, that's not really a thing. Anyway guys, this has been your boy Meek, and a bit of a weird video this time, bit of a weird angle, got my microphone over here. But yeah, either way, hope you guys have enjoyed. If you want more camera stuff from me, please let me know and I can help out. I can do videos for days if you want. But thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you later. Peace. That was really ranty.